Hello, dear students. Okay, this is Maramada back with the new chapter that is ecosystem. So, ecosystem is usually you have studied also in your lower classes. I believe this will be an easy topic for you to understand also. Okay, let us get into the video. Okay. So, what is an ecosystem? Here, I have written already. Ecosystem is a functional unit of nature. So here we regard an ecosystem is a functional unit of a nature where living organisms interact each other and also with the physical environment. Very simply would have been learned. The ecosystem means the interaction between the biotic and abiotic factor. Okay, so that what we call it as an ecosystem. See, when we refer ecosystem, there are various definitions also. And this term you should be knowing it was coined by Arthur G. Tansley. Arthur, A-R-T-H-U-R, Arthur G. Tansley in 1935. And earlier, this was called as bioconosis. Bioconosis. So, it was been called as a bioconosis by Karl Mobis in 1877. And you should be knowing about Odam. Odam is a person who has also written many books on ecology. According to Odam in 1963, he gives a definition. He tells ecosystem is a basic functional unit of ecology in which both biotic components and abiotic environment influences each other. So what is this biotic factor and abiotic factor? Biotic means involvement of an organism interaction with the abiotic factor just as water, soil and air. So even we are said to be the biotic factors. So we interact with the surrounding and we live in an ecosystem. So I believe it is clear with the definition. Okay. So ecosystem, the structure and function, I have put the slide here. So in ecosystem, the types of ecosystem, they are nearly three types here. One is terrestrial ecosystem, another one is aquatic ecosystem, and the third one is man-made ecosystem. Coming to the terrestrial ecosystem, it is forest, grassland, and the desert. Here the pictures I have green given here. This is a desert, this is the rainforest, and this is a grassland. So these are the three types of terrestrial ecosystem. Then coming to the aquatic ecosystem. In aquatic ecosystem, we find the pond, lake, wetland, river, and estuaries. So here are the three pictures which is given: the pond, the lake, and the river. So here you can see the river flows and joins with the sea. Then man-made ecosystem. This is what? This is the ecosystem which we have done it. See, you learned evolution. So evolution, agriculture came 10,000 years ago, we tell started. So when man started, he started to form the field, maybe on the mountain hilly areas where you can see in the Nilgiri hills and all, they started growing of the tea leaves, coffee, and in different states you can see different types of crops grown. So what are all those? They are all the man-made ecosystem. Another one is aquarium. Even we have aquarium where we put the fishes to represent what the consumers, and put little bit of plants like hydrilla, was area to represents water phytoplankton. So big aquariums and all also are there. So they are all created by man. So it is called as man-made ecosystem. So basically we have three types of ecosystem. So coming to the structure and function only, we talk about the biosphere. See, can you see the globe? The whole globe, we call it as what? The whole globe, we call it as the biosphere. So what is bio? Bio means living organism present on the earth. We call it as a biosphere. So biosphere is regarded as what? Global ecosystem. So in an ecosystem, as I told you, there are two factors such as the biotic factor and also abiotic. So they are also known as component. When they interact and function as a unit, it is called as a ecosystem. Now, in this system, when the distribution is vertical, see a vertical distribution of different species occupying different levels is called as what? Stratification. Example, say example we have given here in a forest. If we consider forest as a ecosystem, trees occupy the topper layer. Here you can see this is the emergent layer, this one. Then canopy. What is canopy? All the trees, big trees, the leaves combines where the sunlight does not fall on the land. Such occurs because of the engulfing of the branches and the leaves, that we call it as canopy layer. Then the next is understory layer, then shrub layer, and this is the ground layer. So here you have a different levels of what do you tell, arrangement of the organism, that is in a plant species only in a forest. So that what we call it as stratification. So here the trees occupy the top strata, then shrubs and second, and herbs and grasses at the bottom layer. So this is called as a stratification. Okay. So the next we will take an example, that is a pond ecosystem. In the structure and the function, we will take an example as a pond ecosystem. So in this pond ecosystem, you can also see there are the diagram we have given here. A pond is what? It is a shallow, simple, self-sustainable water body that exhibits all basic components of an ecosystem. Here one thing we should recognize, we consider the important two components which I have told you, abiotic components and biotic component. So in this picture, which is a abiotic component, one is the water, this is the water, and this is the what do you tell, hair, and the soil bed, this is the soil bed. So these three are said to be the abiotic components. And climatic conditions such as solar input, cycle of temperature, day length, all this also we consider as a abiotic factor here. Then coming to abiotic components, the abiotic components have explained for you. When we consider the biotic component of a pond system comprises of the producers, variety of consumers. The producers are what? Microscopic, free-floating algae, phytoplankton. Now, in the first year, you have studied regarding Chlamydomonas, diatoms, Euglena, Volvox, Spirogyra. In the lab, we have shown you Vallisneria, and that is emerged plants, little bit bigger, Pistia, Ecornia, and all these aquatic plants, what they form the primary producers means they produce, they are said to be primary producers since they produce the food on which the heterotrophs are dependent. So when the heterotrophs are dependent on the producers, they are called as consumers. Okay, even in food chain in lower classes, you have learned regarding producers, consumers, and decomposers. That what we are trying to tell you. So here you can see most of the plants here, and also floating algae, submerged marginal plants. Can you see? These all are what? Marginal plants. These are. So all these are said to be as a producers. So the producers are eaten by whom? Consumers. So which are the consumer? What are the if they are dependent on autotrophs, they are called as heterotrophs. Which are the heterotrophs? Two types of consumers we find. That is three also we find. One is this is a primary consumer, secondary consumer, and this is a tertiary consumers. So here consumers means heterotrophs which are dependent on the other organism for food. So, first primary consumers are here what? Zooplankton. then free swimming and bottom dwelling forms are there. Then you find the small fishes are eaten by the large fishes. These fishes are eaten by the birds. Okay, so like this food chain goes on. So this how we consider the consumers. Now, when these all organism die, they are being decayed by the certain organisms which we call it as decomposers. So these decomposers are fungi, bacteria and flagellates. So this fungi, bacteria and flagellates, all these organisms are microscopic organisms. They are also called as saprophytes, which decays what dead organism and convert it into the product. So that what we call it them as a decomposers. So here three levels I have told you in a pond ecosystem. One is the producers, second is the consumers, and the third is the decomposers. So this how we find in a pond ecosystem. So what is this? This is biotic factor and this is abiotic factor. Okay, here you can see another picture of aquatic ecosystem. So pond performs all function of the ecosystem. One is autotrophs. What are autotrophs? The plants here. Here the plants are there. See in the under bed also the plants are there. Can you see? These all plants, they convert inorganic to organic material, that is photosynthesis. This sentence is nothing to panic. This sentence initiates, it converts inorganic to organic means photosynthesis. It produces the food, that is nothing but glucose, using what? Solar radiant energy. So they are known as autotrophs. Then heterotrophs. Heterotrophs means the organisms which are dependent on the autotrophs. Autotrophs, they have a ability to produce the food. Heterotrophs, they don't have a ability to produce food, so they are dependent on the autotrophs. Such organism, we call it as heterotrophs. Coming to the decomposer. So what will the, if the plants die, animals die and fall on the soil bed here. So here what happens, decomposition takes places where mineralization of the dead matter to release back for the reuse of autotrophs. So very simply in Kannada, if you tell what is decomposition means, ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಆಗೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಡಿಕಂಪೋಸಿಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಈಗ ಹಂದಿ ಸತ್ತೋಯ್ತು, ನಾಯಿ ಸತ್ತೋಯ್ತು, ಅದನ್ನ ಕಸಕ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ. ಕಸಕ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಡಿಕೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಡಿಕಂಪೋಸಿಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮಣ್ಣಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಗಿಡಗಳಿಗೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ರೀಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಆಟೋಟ್ರೋಪ್ಸ್, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗೊಬ್ಬರನ ನಾವ್ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಿವಿ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಗಿಡಗಳಿಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಿವಿ. So ಅದೇ ಈ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅರ್ಥ, back for reuse by the autotrophs. Okay. So the next in structure and function, we learn four basic components of an ecosystem. One is productivity, another one is decomposition, energy flow, nutrient cycling. So today in this video, I'll be explaining for you the productivity and the decomposition. So in this class, we will learn the productivity and the decomposition. So here you can see the plants. This picture shows the plant utilizes the solar radiation, that is radiant energy is converted into chemical energy, that is means photosynthesis. And this is what the grass is being eaten. So the plants are said to be the producers, which is eaten by the herbivores. So this is a picture for the showing consumers, and this is what decomposition. Now when the decomposition occurs, again that is put for the plants only for the growth. That is reuse of the decomposition. Okay. Okay, next is productivity. Okay. So what is productivity? Main productivity means photosynthesis, nothing but the photosynthesis only. Confusion, you shouldn't get into confusion. Productivity andre ದೊಡ್ಡ ವರ್ಡ್ ಏನಲ್ಲ, productivity andre production. Okay, the growth of the plants, photosynthesis, that what we consider as a productivity. So here, what is used for photosynthesis? Solar energy. So solar energy is a basic requirement for an ecosystem to function and sustain. If solar energy is there only, photosynthesis can occur. If not, photosynthesis cannot occur. That you know very well because most of you are farmer children. ಸೊ ಬಿಸಿಲು ಇದ್ದಾಗಲೇ ಬೆಳೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಬೆಳೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನರ್ಥ? ಫೋಟೋಸಿಂಥೆಟಿಕ್ ರೇಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಅದನ್ನೇ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಕ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಯಾ the amount of biomass. So when we consider organic matter produced per unit area, see when you take a field, okay, biomass means the amount of organic matter produced in a plant, okay, in a plant per unit area over a time period by plants, understand, during photosynthesis, the production of amount of glucose it is. Okay, photosynthesis product is what? Glucose. So what we trying to tell, during photosynthesis, the amount of biomass produced over a time period by plants during photosynthesis is called as what? Primary production. So this primary production, it is measured or expressed by weight. Means weight of a plant, how much it is produced. That is expressed in a weight g minus 2, or energy kilocalories meter per second we call it as. The rate of biomass production, see what I am telling you, a plant produces that organic matter in a plant, total alla, in a plant per unit is called as productivity. Biomass, and when you tell biomass means in that total area, a field area, how much it produces, okay, during photosynthesis, that organic matter we call it as productivity. Okay, so it is expressed in a g minus 2 and via minus 1 or kilocalories meter per second. So it is divided into two types. One is gross primary productivity, GPP, another one is net primary productivity. So I will tell in the next step very clearly, slowly also you try to understand. Okay. Only one thing you have in your mind, that is organic matter produced during photosynthesis. What it is? Amount of glucose, right? Okay. So gross primary productivity means, once again I am telling, it is in a simple way. If this sentence is difficult, it is a total amount of food produced by the producers per unit area per unit time. I think so now you understood. Total amount of food means what? Here I have written organic matter, that is food. During photosynthesis means what is the food? The glucose. When glucose is produced, it has to respire. All the organism, when they respire, what do? They break down the glucose, some amount of glucose they break, release the energy. That energy is utilized for photosynthesis because they have to respire. Respiration, if not there, any organism will die on the earth, right? So for respiration, some amount of organic matter, that is some amount of glucose, is broken down during respiration. Are you understanding? See what is gross means? Total amount of glucose produced by a plant. In that, some amount of glucose is broken down for what? Respiration. That is called as what? Gross primary productivity. Then coming to net primary productivity. ಈಗ net salary, gross salary ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಹೌದಾ? The gross salary means total salary. In that, if you minus some amount for ESI might be, PF might be. What is the salary you take home? We call it as net salary. In the same way, the amount of glucose produced by the plant is gross. In that glucose, some amount of glucose is used for respiration. Okay, that if you minus, what do you get? We get NPP. That is what this formula is. Are you understanding? So what is net primary productivity? It is the available biomass for consumption by the heterotrophs, the plants it will consume here. Can you see here? Heterotrophs means the herbivorous, rabbit might be, squirrel might be, sheep might be, goat might be. So this heat the plants or the grass. So available of biomass for the consumption by the heterotrophs such as herbivorous and also decomposers. So here how do we get the net NPP, that is net primary productivity, means it is gross primary productivity minus respiration loss. So what you will get? You will get actual mass. So this is net primary productivity. I think so now you understood. Okay. Okay. Coming to that is primary productivity I told. This is secondary productivity. Secondary productivity means it is a rate of formation of new organic matter by consumers. Means after eating the grass. Okay, we will take your example only. ತಪ್ಪಲು ಪಲ್ಯ ತಿಂತಿರಲ್ಲ, ತಿಂದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗುವಂತ ಎನರ್ಜಿನೇ ನಾವೇನಂತೀವಿ? New organic matter. If understood, in the same way, so it is a rate of formation of new organic matter by the consumers is called as secondary productivity. So primary productivity varies in different ecosystem, because now if you consider pond, in the pond the primary productivity means phytoplankton, algae, they produce the primary productivity. So when those are eaten by small fishes, that is called, and they built the muscles, means that is energy is produced in its body of the fishes, secondary productivity. Okay, so in each ecosystem, it depends upon the plant species inhabiting an area, environmental factors, availability of the nutrients, then photosynthetic capacity of plants. Okay. So here, annual net primary productivity of whole biosphere. What is this net? Can you see all green, green, green? That is the production of the plants on this earth. Okay, that is how much? 170 billion tons, which is a dry weight or organic matter available, organic matter present on the earth. We call it as what? Annual net primary productivity. How much it is? 170 billion tons. Of this, despite of 70% of the surface, that is earth surface, the productivity of oceans, means here the oceans, see this all blue color, all are, what are all this blue color? This all are nothing but the oceans. So these oceans occupy how many? 55 billion tons. Means under the seabed there are many plants which also have the productivity. Means photosynthesis occurs, means the productivity is there, biomass is there, means food is available for the organisms, that is heterotrophs, to eat. So how much it is there for the organism which live inside the ocean? 55 billion tons. How much availability is there for the organism on the earth? 170 billion tons. Okay, next to talk, that is regarding the productivity. Next is decomposition. So when we refer what is decomposition? The word decomposition means what? It is a process of breaking down of complex organic matter into inorganic substances like carbon dioxide, water, nutrient in nature. So your dead plant remains such as leaves, bark, flowers, fruits, dead remains of animals including fecal matter. Fecal matter I'll show in this slide here. Okay, see. So what is decomposition? Just now I told it is a breakdown of complex organic matter by the decomposers. Which are the decomposers? Fungi, bacteria. Okay, those all are said to be saprophytes. All are said to be the decomposers, which will break down the complex organic matter into inorganic substances and release carbon dioxide, water, and nutrients. Yeah, what is this? ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂತಾರೆ? ಕೊಳಿತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ತಿಪ್ಪೆ ಗುಂಡಿಗೆ ನೀವು ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಎಲೆಗಳು ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಗಣಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒಮ್ಮೊಮ್ಮೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ ಆಗ್ಲೇ, ಹಂದಿ ನಾಯಿ ಸತ್ತಿದ್ರು ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಎಸಿತಾರೆ, ಅದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಮಣ್ಣು ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಗೊಬ್ಬರನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟಿಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಆಗೋದನ್ನೇ ನಾವು ಈ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಓದ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಅದು decomposition. So decomposition occurs by which organism? Fungi, bacteria. Okay, so what happens there? It is largely an oxygen requiring process. So organism requires oxygen. So what is the raw material for decomposition? It is called as detritus. So here the detritus means it is dead plant remains, such as here in the picture you can see what are all this. This all are nothing but the dry leaves, then bark, flowers, etc. Then dead remains of the animals. So here they have shown the death of a pig. Then a fecal matter. What is this? Dung. It might be cow dung or sheep dung, dung from the cattle farms. All this we call it as what? A fecal matter. Sagni. Adana fecal matter ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Okay. Next, decomposition. So decomposition, it occurs by the 5 steps here. So which is the first step? First is fragmentation. Second is leaching. Third is catabolism. Fourth is humification. Fifth is mineralization. Okay, so here ಅದೇ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಆಗದೆ 5 steps ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ಅ ಪಿಗ್. ಸೊ ಹಂದಿ ಬಹಳ ಫೇಮಸ್ ನಮ್ಮೂರಲ್ಲಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹಂದಿನೇ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, the pig is dead here, it is rotting here, and you can see completely rotted, and nothing you find here. And the place where it is decomposed, there you can see white, which we call it as collection of salts here, which will get added with the soil again, and this forms the humus which is put to the plants. So this total summary will be explained step by step here. Okay. See, first one is what? Fragmentation. Fragmentation means breakdown of detritus. So here already I have explained you. Detritus means water remaining, that is a dead fecal, dead remains of the animals and leaf, bark, flowers, fruits, fecal matter, all this together we call it a detritus. So they will be of a very complex material which will be broken into small particles, that is fragmentation by the detrivorous. So what are detrivorous? Means they are invertebrates feeding on the detritus are called the detrivorous, such as here beetles are there, termites, and earthworm. So this represents the earthworm. So earthworm is regarded to be as a farmer friend. Why? Because it breaks down the complex matter and make it into a simpler unit. So and it also helps in the breakdown. I told you the important steps followed in this process. The fragmentation is one of the important step which is undergone by the earthworm. So the breakdown of detritus into smaller fragments to increase the surface area for microbial action is called as fragmentation. Detritus get pulverized as it passes through the digestive tract of this animal, and the branch of science which deals with the study of decomposition is also called as taponomy. Taponomy, Taphonomy. So taponomy means what? It's a branch of science which deals with the study of decomposition. So this is regarding fragmentation. Next step. Second step is leaching. Leaching means it is water soluble inorganic nutrients which go down into the soil origin and precipitate as unavailable salts. That means the water soluble inorganic nutrients which is produced after decomposition. So once the leaves, the dead plants and animals are broken down into smaller units, those will become the salts. So here you can see if the pig dies also after few days, in the first picture I have shown you. So when it dies after few days, you can see there will be white here, which represents the organisms have the complex organic matter. They have made it to the simpler form, and this remaining we call it as the salts. This salts, what happen? It will enter inside the soil bed. See, it is entering inside the soil bed, which we call it as a leaching. It will precipitate in the form of the salts. That's what we call it as leaching. Okay. Next step, catabolism. Catabolism, you have learned last year, that is breaking down of the inorganic matter. Okay, organic to inorganic nutrients, we call it as a catabolism. Breaking up of the organic matter means catabolism. So that what I have given here, degradation of the detritus into simpler inorganic substances by bacteria, fungal enzymes is called as catabolism. So here the decomposers are which are the decomposers? Already we have talked about bacteria and fungi, which carry out the extracellular digestion. They secrete the digestive enzymes on the detritus and convert the complex insoluble organic substances into simple soluble organic and inorganic compounds. A part of the broken down food is taken up by the decomposers and immobilize them. See, when we talk about fragmentation, we talked about the earthworm. Earthworm and beetles we can see. So the earthworm and beetles, they break the larger molecules into the smaller. This in a catabolism, what happened? The microorganisms such as bacteria and fungi, still more it will degrade. So when it still more degrade after few days, you can see in the villages they will open a pit. In the pit they will dump all the waste like leaves, grass waste, and also cow dung, everything, and upon that they put the soil and it will become a compost. How it become compost? That what is the process of the decomposition I'm trying to tell you. So there what happened, the bacteria, earthworms will be there. The earthworms will break down the larger particle into simpler part. This simpler inorganic matter will be further degraded. Further it will be degraded by the decomposers. So it will become what? A humus. Okay, that in the next step I'll tell you. Okay, humification. So what is a seer? Earthworm, can you see? Okay. So accumulation of the humus, that is a dark amorphous ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು humus ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. So here dark amorphous substances in the soil. Humus is resistant to microbial action, so decomposes very slowly. Being colloidal in nature, it serves as a reservoir for the nutrients. So this humus is very good for the plants. This compost is very good for the plant. And in humus also there are two types: acidic humus and alkaline humus also. So acidic humus means sometimes what happen, it will be quite a dark color amorphous substances. It is found in the region of usually in coniferous forest where decomposition is brought by bacteria and fungi. Alkaline humus means it is found in the grassland, deciduous forest, where microorganisms and earthworm help in decomposition process. So humus is highly resistant, I told now, to microbial action, and it undergoes extremely slow decomposition. Here I have written. So it is a colloidal in nature and it serves as a reservoir of nutrients. So it is very good nutrient for the plants, the humus. That's what we call it as formation. The process of formation of humus is called as humification. Okay. The next is mineralization. See, it is a formation of minerals. It involves what the release of inorganic nutrients. Here, inorganic nutrients due to the degradation of humus by some microbes. So here they have shown the nutrients such as ammonium, calcium, magnesium, even potassium, etc. They enter into the cells. See, usually when the animals die or any organism die, when it is decomposed, usually even the plants they decompose. Most of the minerals, that is ammonia, or even organism body is made up of nitrogen. When it enters into the soil, it becomes ammonia. So calcium is present, magnesium will be there in the body, potassium will be there. All this, what will happen? It will enter into the soil, which is beneficial for the plants again. So that release of those inorganic nutrients from the humus, ಗೊಬ್ಬರದಿಂದ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗುವಂತ minerals. So that's what we call it as mineralization. So that will takes places by some of the microbes. Which are the microbes? Means such as bacteria and fungi. Okay. So this is the diagram for the decomposition in a terrestrial ecosystem. Now see, this is picture which is given even in your textbook. A tree, the tree where the leaf is fallen down. So a tree grows in the soil. So in this soil, this is the soil. Later will come. So here a green leaf falls to the ground here. So these green leaves, some are eaten by the insects. Can you see? Some are eaten by the insects. And the leaves partially are consumed by the, when the leaves fall down on the earth, by the decomposers such as fungi and bacteria. Some leaves are being eaten up by what? Fungi. Here they have shown mushroom means, don't get confusion. They to represent fungi. So some of the leaves are what happens? They are consumed by the fungi and bacteria. They begin to lose form and become the litter. Litter means what? The waste of the leaves, we call it as a litter. Then here what happened, when the organism die, some nutrient, this organism die. What happens? The organism, when it dies, some of the nutrient leaches into the soil by chemical action. So here what happened? The soil will become rich in the nutrients when the organism die and decay. Here what happened? The leaves also decay. The further what happened? It will when the leaves fall to the soil bed here, the decomposition will take places by the earthworm, bacteria, mites, fungi, etc. And the soil will be forming the humus. So this organic rich soil, we call it as humus, which is again used by the plants for. So this is the cycle for decomposition. Okay, I believe you have understood this. Okay. Factors influencing decomposition means it is chemical composition of the detritus. That is detritus from starting only I have told you the waste or the raw material for the decomposition. So decomposition will become slow. When it will become slow, if detritus is rich in lignin and chitin. What is this lignin and chitin? Lignin is a composition which is usually present in the sclerenchyma tissue. Chitin also usually you will find in the most of the insects the chitin which are very uh, what do you tell thick polysaccharides which cannot be so easily degraded. So that moment what happened, decomposition will become slow. Then it is quicker when the detritus is rich in nitrogen. That is, we tell no, when we die also within 1 week, if we are there in the soil bed, all the organism will, it is very fast. We get decayed because our body is made up of 70% of nitrogen liter and water soluble substances like sugar. So decomposition will be very quicker. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬೇಗ ಕೊಳಿತದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. Okay, so here then climatic factors which influences is temperature and the soil mass moisture. If a temperature is more warm and the moist is there, it favors the decomposition. If temperature is low and anaerobiosis, temperature sunlight becomes low, heat is less. At that moment, decomposition resulting in build of organic materials. There will be the inbuild of the organic material. So this condition will influence the decomposition. Warm means not completely too heat also. A warm weather it should be, and moist environment ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀರಿರುವಂತ like moisture environment if ಇದೆ ಬೇಗ ಕೊಳಿತದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. So here in the hand you can see the humus is having in the hand which can be put to the plants. Here you can see a tree is fallen down. Upon that, one more tree is started growing. That means what? This tree which is fallen, which is called as a dead plant. So when as it undergoes decomposition, this tree will grow up. Okay. That's all for today's class, children. In next video I'll be telling regarding another factors of the ecosystem. So today we have learned productivity and the decomposition. Okay.